All right, this next video is the most ridiculous thumbnail I've ever seen. It's called Star Citizen: The Truth. My 6-year journey to LEGATUS backer. Dream, regrets, scam? Question marks. This is from a good friend of mine, Redlear, and I don't like the first thing I would say before I even watch the video. And this is gonna sound rude. Is who asked? Like, who's asking what it's like to be a LEGATUS backer, right? Now, a lot of people in chat are saying it's a good video. So I'm going to take that, like, who asked feeling, because I don't think anyone cares what it's like to spend a lot of money on the game. But the more I think about it, the more people might want to know what you get if you spend. Like, there's so much sensationalism around Star Citizen and how much money people spend. Well, this dude spent a lot of money, so what did he actually get out of it? So maybe it's just the titling of it and the thumbnail of it that doesn't relay that information, and that's kind of like maybe just a problem with that, because that the first thing that it brought to my mind was who asked, but in reality, a lot of people are asking those questions. It's just weirdly worded, just the title of the video, I guess. So let's watch it and see what he has to say.
Well, it finally happened. On February 23rd, 2022, I received an email from Chris Roberts notifying me that I had in fact reached Legatus Navium status. It actually occurred a few months earlier.
Well, it finally happened. I spent way too much money on Star Citizen again and reached another level.
But I'm sure he's really busy, so we can forgive him for the delay. Email memes aside, logging in and spotting the gold and black painted 600i Explorer in my hangar was a sure sign that the line had been crossed. I had entered the highest echelon of the galaxy's most rarefied society, or so they told me at least. For those of you who may not be familiar with what Legatus exactly means, it's the current top-level concierge status given to any backer who pledges $25,000 or more over the lifetime of their.
But are you triple Legatus? I mean, come on. You haven't reached the upper echelon until you've reached triple Legatus, sir. All right?
Count. Believe
Any
me.
Legatus members in chat?
I'm as shocked as you are. In just a little over 6 years, I had somehow gone from hesitant backer to full-blown internet pixel addict. How did I get here? And for that matter, why did I get here?
Yeah.
What would possess a person to give Chris Roberts so much money? After all, isn't Star Citizen a well-known scam? Was I tricked or forced to back the project under duress? Was it aliens? I've always been a space nerd of sorts and was a huge fan of Star Wars and Star Trek growing up, as well as more recent titles like Battlestar Galactica and The Expanse. I'm also a huge fan of MMOs and have logged more than a healthy amount of hours in games like Star Wars Galaxies and EVE Online over the years. In December of 2015, I was on an extended vacation looking for something new and fresh to sink my teeth into. I had never heard of Chris Roberts or played one of his previous games, but I found SC through some Google Foo, and it seemed like an interesting project. I stumbled into Twitch and found a content creator that was streaming the alpha on a nightly basis. I curiously asked questions, picking the brain of this veteran backer over the course of a couple of weeks. I noticed they had quite the collection of spaceships in their hangar already. Did they work for the company? Who would spend that much money on internet space pixels, I wondered. Even as I was deciding if I would back this project, I was adamant in my mind that this would never happen to me. It was surely lunacy. By January 2nd, 2016, I was the proud owner of a brand new Star Citizen account with my very own Aurora LN
Yo, Redlear of Aurora LN brothers, dude. That was my first ship too. I was like, I want a starter ship, but I want it to be combat focused.
Squadron 42 combo pack. The prospect of a future game that could be an FPS version of EVE Online or even SWG with larger worlds captured me right away. I was cautious though. I took an immediate vow that I would now wait patiently for the game to be released and never buy another space pixel with real money again. This was it. This was all I needed. My little Aurora and I were going to take on the verse and wait patiently together. After all, the Star Citizen community assured me the game was only about 2 years away. By February of the same year, I started what would be a 6-year ride of streaming Star Citizen on Twitch and eventually here creating YouTube videos. Streaming the alpha quickly became my nightly hobby, and as with most hobbies, a little more money went into it. What hooked me immediately was the flight and combat experience that was laid out before us in the 2.x patches. Sure, there were bugs, but the model that their physics programmer John Pritchett had designed was exhilarating. The persistent
Give it up, dude. 2.4 is never going to happen again. John Pritchett made a flight model that doesn't scale with the game. Let it go. Let it go, guys. As right as he may have been, and as right as you might be, it's never going to happen again. It's not going to be that way. I miss it too. Racing was so good. I miss racing so much. And I feel the same way you do, but I just don't think it will happen.
Universe was still in its infancy, so night after night, arena lobbies were jam-packed with players brawling it out in tightly controlled fighter craft, left to imagine how large fleet combat would all play out as the universe progressed. Interacting and entertaining with the Star Citizen community was something I looked forward to every night. To my surprise, as a lifelong introvert, I'd become addicted to creating content and entertaining live on the internet. The channel took off fast, and every month I would put a portion of my Twitch earnings towards new ships to fly and even give ships away to the community. I was fortunate enough that any support I received could be used this way. I had a full-time job, and I didn't require Twitch to pay my mortgage or bills. Yeah. As an adult, I knew full well what I was getting into, where my money
a bit of transparency here as well for myself. I'm just below him in backing, in the 20 to 22 to 23,000 range. My journey is 9 years, not 6, and I have not purchased a ship in 3 years for Star Citizen. And all of my money spent on ships, I would say not all of it, but I think my count is probably worth 5,000 to 7,000. My personal account, where most of the ships that I purchased to hit that $20,000 range was just for giveaways for my Twitch channel to grow that. And in reality, that was a big mistake and didn't really work. But here we are. And that's why for the last 3 years, I have not purchased a single ship.
Was going, and I was more than happy doing it. Ships became content, and content became ships. Fast forward to the 3.0 release, and the patch had broken the flight experience to the point that it would never really be recovered. JP eventually left, and flight refactors came and went, but they paled in comparison to the magic CIG had captured in all those earlier patches. The experience that caused myself and other backers to be so passionately involved in Star Citizen was gone, and likely not coming back in any year soon, if at all. A lot of my friends and community went with it. I still enjoyed streaming and engaging with members of the community. There were still things to look forward to besides the combat experience. Star Citizen became more about the journey for me than the destination at that point. I focused on the experiences and time spent with friends I was making, and after all, Star Citizen was only 2 years away. Over the 6 years and 4,000 hours of streaming, I heard a lot from the community. Why they backed, what they did or did not like, and what their expectations were for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Their arrival and backgrounds came from wildly different paths. Some were longtime Chris Roberts fans from his single-player games of old. Some came from PvP-centric games like EVE Online, and others from everything in between. It became very clear over time that most backers had polarizing expectations in comparison to each other. There was genuine confusion when a gameplay loop or feature direction hadn't lined up with what they imagined when they backed. It seemed CIG had a problem, or more accurately, the backers did. There were so many opinions on what the game would and would not be, and everyone seemed to be convinced their take was CIG's vision. How could CIG possibly satisfy everyone? It didn't help that in the early years, CIG had never fully defined most of the gameplay aspects they were planning, and firm details were an ever-moving target. Questions and asks on shows like 10 for the Chairman often met with answers like, "We think," "We hope."
Yo, is that him signing Booch's helmet? No chance, dude. No way.
"What we imagine," or "We don't have current plans for that, but you never know." In some cases, there certainly were outright overestimations and realignments on CIG's part. The early Squadron 42 release target of 2016 and original Road to 4.0 timeline immediately come to mind.
That is so funny.
CIG has been better about this in recent years. As with any development project, goalposts get moved, and being an alpha, anything that was specifically stated was subject to change, and it certainly did. Details around features and aspects of the project were very open-ended, and backers were left to dream up and build their own conclusions in their minds. If there was one thing that CIG marketing had become masters of, it was getting the backers to open their wallets based on their imagination and interpretation of features that were not yet fully realized. As years went on and plans became less fuzzy, many older backers became jaded or felt lied to as certain features or timeframes didn't line up as they had imagined. Some simply reached their threshold of how long the no publishing, no compromise project was taking. Some of the most staunch supporters had turned hostile and bitter. We have to appreciate that some of these backers had been involved since late 2012 and Star Citizen was still 2 years away. On the flip side, there were waves of fresh backers coming in all the time who were mesmerized by the beauty of the verse with its large-scale moons and planets to explore. Their enthusiasm and passion for the future was very recognizable from when I had found the project years before. Twitch chat conversations became an odd juxtaposition of the new versus old guard of Star Citizen, and I could certainly understand both perspectives. I've been asked a lot over the years if I regret backing Star Citizen so heavily, and if I think after all this time if Star Citizen is a scam. The answer has always been no to both of these questions.
Buddy, please, there is a 0% chance it's no. And here's how I know that the answer is always it was a bad choice to back $20,000 for Star Citizen. Okay, you ready? 2012, 2013, 2014. Those, whatever amount of years, here's how I equate it. And this could probably be super wrong and super stupid. Those 3 or 4 years, let's say 2 to 3 years, if I put all of my money into Bitcoin, where would I be now? I could buy Star Citizen, all right? I could buy Robert Space Industries. I'd literally be, my last name would be Calder, okay? So let me tell you something. There's no way that you don't regret spending that much money on the game.
And here's where the truth lies. While CIG has been making...
I know it's two totally different things, but if you look at it that way, there's a lot of better things you could have spent your money on. And, you know, didn't get basically a crappy game like we have right now.
Record crowdfunding amounts year over year, I don't believe setting up shop in multiple countries and paying the salaries of hundreds of employees to create a game is in line with that. I could never get anyone who declared it as a scam to tell me how it worked. All I know is it's supposed to involve a boat. Star Citizen is a dream. The reality is that any amount of money that anyone has ever pledged has been driven by the hope that Star Citizen will satisfy the gaming experience they imagine it to be someday. Ultimately, though, those wants are overridden by one major fact. This is actually Chris Roberts' dream. Whether you agree or disagree with his current vision on any given Tuesday, that is the only thing that matters to the future reality of Star Citizen, regardless of any backer expectations. The truth is that we're all wrapped up in one man's final shot at achieving his grand opus. I see Chris Roberts as the George Lucas of video games. He had some great ideas and success at an early age, but couldn't fully realize what was in his head because technology, time, and money were all limiting factors. Fast forward a few decades and almost $500 million later, and he is in a much different position. There will be no compromise by his own statements on Spectrum. This is the game he's dreamed of his whole life. Now that he's in a position to realize it, he's not willing to compromise its potential. Year after year, new backers come to find something they love about Star Citizen, and record amounts of money consistently top the year before. Money buys time. And time eventually leads to more powerful technologies to realize and expand Chris's vision to whatever it may end up being. In the end, Star Citizen may not be what you or I exactly dreamed upon its completion.
It will
but I
not
don't
be.
regret my time or money spent on Star Citizen. It continues to be a great hobby, and I wouldn't trade the friendships and laughs I've experienced along the way for anything. While I may not agree with everything Chris wants or changes, I do fully...
Yo, fuck all you guys. I would trade all of you guys for $20,000 in Bitcoin in 2012. Okay? Or I guess 2014. I would have traded all of you guys for that. All right? Sorry. I'm just saying. You would do the same to me. Would you get rid of me? You would trade me, right? You would trade me. I know you would. Like, who wouldn't, dude? Come on. We could all hang out. We could all hang out after I'm rich, okay? Like, what the hell, dude?
I really believe he has the best intentions and is trying to realize the best version of his dream so that he can finally share it with everyone someday. I also
he's got
believe
the
that
best
the employees at
intentions,
CIG are incredibly talented and passionate about helping Chris achieve this. Love it or hate it, the Star Citizen crowdfunding success that has occurred over the last 10 years is probably one of the biggest social phenomenons that we will experience in our lifetime. There's something about watching a grown man spend a $500 million blank check to chase his childhood dream that I just can't take my eyes off of. I have to wonder if I could ever stop and draw the line if I were in his shoes. For new people finding this channel,
that is the best point anybody has ever made. Is like, put yourself in Chris's shoes, dude. And how would you handle it? I'm doing that right this moment. I don't know. I'm not a game developer either. So that's part of the problem. Is I always wonder, are the steps they're taking the correct order of steps? Right? And the whole thing is like, I can sit here and go, if somebody gave me $500 million, how would I make Star Citizen? Well, the difference is that you have $500 million in your pocket right now to make it. He didn't. Everything they do is to ensure that they get $500 million and that they keep getting millions of dollars every month, every year. And it negatively affects the development of the game at the same time. But I bet you if Chris was just given $500 million, or Chris bought Bitcoin in 2012 and has $500 million, then I think they would develop Star Citizen differently. I don't think they would do the openness of the game that we have now. I don't think we would be playing the game that we have now. So that's the tough one. Is I don't think it's possible to put yourself in Chris's shoes, but the best I can think of is it totally makes sense that Chris and CIG is developing the game visually first and gameplay second. And I can't believe I'm saying this because it's the thing I hate the most. But what the hell else are they supposed to do at this point?
That are interested in Star Citizen, the final piece of advice I'll give you is this. Take things with a grain of salt, believe what you see in front of you today, and don't buy into the hype too much. If you're interested in the project, check out a free fly, buy a basic starter package, earn ships in-game, and wait. Enjoy the ride. After all, Star Citizen is only 2 years away.
Do you guys know anything about F1 and porpoising? Because that's basically what the ride is right now.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Red Lear. It's not exactly the video that I was expecting, like from either title, like the way that I interpreted the titles, but it was pretty good. I know he's been putting out a ton of stuff on YouTube lately, so if you guys want to check it out, I'll put the link in chat so you guys can subscribe to his YouTube channel and everything and check him out and say hello. Clickbait? It wasn't clickbait. That's the thing. It wasn't clickbait. And that's what I maybe caught me off guard a little bit. So yeah, but very good video. Thank you, Red Lear.